Maybe you're a teacher and you saw 3 Blue 1 Brown use Itempool in his live lockdown lectures. For example, here he starts his lecture by having students respond to this question as a getting started question, sees the distribution of answers come in. Or maybe you've seen an example of a pool of items. Here's an example of AP statistics items, thanks to some great content submitted by a teacher. And so those are two things that you've probably seen, but how do you yourself get started with Itempool? To show you that, I've created a test account, logged in. This is exactly what Itempool look like as soon as you log in for the very first time. So you'll see the 3 different ways that you can present items to your students or your class. You can do the live challenges, what 3 Blue 1 Brown did. You can create quizzes, which is more of a general experience, kind of similar to a really, really good version of Google Forms, but for educational content. Then there's a third way to embed items within the context of a video that you can give to your students asynchronously. But before you do that, before you can create any content that faces your students, you need to create what we're calling a pool of items. That's where your items sit, and then you can use them in all of these flexible, different, innovative ways. So if I click New Pool, create a test, pool, it opens up, and we get what we pride ourselves at Itempool as being the best editor creator experience that you can have in terms of flexibility, in terms of just the experience of creating a question. So let's say I want to create a graphing question. I choose one of the templates. Maybe I want students to be answering via multiple choice, so I click that. I think probably thanks to Cam's good sense of humor, we get a funny little template. Maybe I actually want to ask a little bit more of a mathematical and less animal question. And maybe we're working on graphing. And so I wanted to graph y equals x squared. I can take a screenshot of this, puts it in my clipboard, use my MacBook shortcut, and then I can paste it right into Itempool. And so that's what we mean in terms of saying, hey, this is going to be a good experience for creating items. And so maybe my question is, in this graph, what is the value of y when x equals 2? Now I need to change the answer options, not animals, but a few different numbers. 1, let's call that 2, let's call that 4. When x equals 2, the answer is 4. Great, I've created my first item on Itempool. I could add item tags to organize it and such, but we won't go over that at this time. Save that question. Now over here, I'm gonna get the list of all of the items I've created. I've created only one item here. Quick way to create another one would be to duplicate it and then say, well, we can ask a very related question. Let's actually do the kind of sneaky one of when x equals 0, have to change that. Instead of copy of graphing, maybe graphing 2 is a better name for that item. And now I have a pool, I have 2 items in that pool. And now the question becomes, how do I take those items from that pool and turn them into the educational content that we were talking about? So I'm in here, and the thing to do is select the items that I want to use for whatever I'm creating. Maybe I actually want to use both of them. And as soon as I select a couple of items, I get the option to add to quiz. Okay, add to quiz. We'll call this test quiz because I'm creating a new one. Get the option to edit the quiz. Now I pop over here. I can see the quiz that I've created. I can move the items. Maybe I want to shift the order. For example, there's a couple of different settings I can create in a number of ways, but straightforward. Now I have a link for my students. I've got an incognito mode open so I can show you what the student experience is like. Test. Okay, great. I get a fun experience. Check. Ooh, did not get that one right. All right, let's get one right so I can be proud of myself. Great. Got 50%, 1 out of 2 points. Now, for the teacher, back in the teacher, I can see this results. I can click in here to see the results in a Google Sheet, which is great if you need to export it to a grade book or something. This is a great overview in terms of seeing how my students did on the quiz. So that's how you create a quiz. That's how you share it with students. Ends up being a really, really useful and flexible way to create content and then share it with the students that you're students in your class. If I go back to the dashboard, I can see that my quiz I just created showed up right here. I can go back into it, I can edit and the like. Let's go back into the pool. Let's go back and let's say instead of creating a quiz, I actually wanted to create what 3 Blue 1 Brown had done in his live stream and create a live challenge. So add the live challenge, test live challenge once again, just as an example. Edit live challenge takes me into it. And I have basically the exact same window that I had for quiz, but now instead I'm going to click administer live. And so what this is for is if you're actually interacting with your class synchronously, if you're actually on Zoom with your class, you can say, hey, everyone, I want you to try this question. And the way you have them try this question is you send them to this URL. I can show you what the student experience is like by going back to the incognito. Let me give my name here. And it says the first question is coming soon. The teacher, their Zoom, the screen sharing this screen that we're looking at, can click begin accepting answers. For the student, the question pops up. Teacher's giving them a few minutes. They submit their answer. And then what the teacher can do is say finish and reveal. And so what that does is it reveals the right answer, D of 4 in this case, and also reveals the distribution, who said responded what to what. For the student, they're again still seeing, now they're seeing the right answer in that way. So that's the Administer live feature. It turns out to be fantastic. You've got a class of 30 students on Zoom, and you want to go through 5 practice questions. We think this is the best, most effective, most seamless way to do that. Now, you might wonder, well, 3 Blue 1 Brown had it where it was actually superimposed over his face in terms of responding. The typical use that we're seeing is people just screen share this screen, which is fine. 3 Blue 1 Brown actually created a perfect blog post to describe the tips for setting up remote lessons, gives the details of how you can use something called OBS to do exactly what he's done here if you want to go all the way and have that feature. But Zoom screen sharing or whatever video platform you're using, screen sharing the screen turns out to be an absolutely fantastic way to go about it as well. So that's it. That's live. That's a live challenge. If I go back, I can see that I'm actually still live in that live challenge. I might go next as the teacher. Let's end the session. And I can do view results. It gives me an overview. And I can see here that I did this live challenge and it's here. So did quiz, showed you the live challenge. Now the third thing I'm going to do is show you the video feature, which is also very cool. So going back into the test pool, selecting all of the items. Instead of doing quiz or live challenge, I'm going to do add to video. And let's call that test video. And here what we're going to be able to do is put these items in the context of a video that's uploaded to YouTube. It could be a video that you had created, or it could be someone else's video that you want to say, hey, having my students passively just listen to this video for however long isn't great, but if I can embed some items within the video for them to respond to, it could be a really, really good experience. We'll just use this 3 Blue 1 Brown video by way of example. I go back here, and so what I'm basically saying is, hey, I actually want to embed these questions within this video. Cool, it works. I go edit video. And so what you can see now is that my items, the two items that we had created, I'm able to pick and put where they go in the context of this video. I say, oh, maybe I want the students to answer this question at minute 19:41 seconds, and this question comes much later. I can save that. I can then click share with students as we've been doing. Lost my incognito browser, but I can then click start video, and what I get is the questions within the context of the video. So if I go past that point in time, the question pops up and I answer it down here. If I go to very, very much later in the video, then the different question pops up down here. So that's the third and final way that you can use content at this point in time on Itempool. Just to go back and give an overview, you store your items within pools. You can create your own pools. I didn't talk about it, but you can also share pools with other teachers. And soon you'll be able to find other teachers' pools and use the items that they've created. And then once you have a pool, what you can do with the items from a pool is create a standard quiz. You can create a live challenge for actually running your class synchronously, or you can create a video where you embed the questions below the video and the item pops up depending on the point in the video where the student is at. So that's a quick overview of Itempool. Thank you for your attention.